My name is Kirsty Dignam and I'm here today to look at the weekly reading and energy for the Monday's Musings. Focusing on what is in front of us. Focusing on 5 things we can feel, 4 things we can touch, 3 things we can smell. Really coming back into the body. Because no matter where you are, past, present or future, no matter where you are on your timeline, you are always in this body. This video in particular, first and foremost, it felt important to acknowledge we are all in different places. Secondly, it then felt very vital to acknowledge where we are. Changes coming in the next 4 or 5 months, collectively and individually. And yes, it feels quite daunting when I jump ahead and think about everything that needs to come into play. And yes, it can feel quite intimidating when I feel back to the past and all the concerns that are coming to light now. I almost want to put my head in the sand. This morning it took a lot of enthusiasm on my part to get out of bed, because there's so much potential there of change. But there's also the recognition that only we can do it. So as we come to the end of the Tower year, we've all gone through stages of change and what they have encompassed. Changes outside of us, changes we've thought about and initiated, changes that perhaps we weren't expecting at all, changes that perhaps we knew. As we come to the end of the year, it's very much about looking at ourselves in the role of being the changer. Knowing that these things need to shift and what we're actually going to do about it. We may find, I can definitely relate to that the changes that we have thought about all year have built up to quite an energy that we're now being encouraged to face. We may feel as if we're being fussy or, we may question that ick, but an ick is an ick is an ick. Okay, and really feeling into that, being aware of where it's coming from. Sometimes we can get close to what it is we want, whether that's a relationship, whether that's a job. We can really recognize the changes that need to come into play, and our subconscious, in order to keep us safe, in order not to rock the metaphorical boat, may bring forth icks, the bits that are different, the bits that have changed, and taking them forward. This week, when things come up for examination, when things come up to be felt, as they always do, as part of the process of change, what has actually shifted in that? Take that forward. And that can be the ick. That can be, I don't want to do this anymore because of whatever reason. That can be something doesn't sit right with me. That can be, actually, I need to expand my view on this. The more stubborn we are in those ideas based on our past, often based on upbringing that we may not even be aware of, the less room there is for negotiation. Here, to be guided by a greater vision, to bring back your own focus, to be very aware of where your mind is at on the Monday feels like key, not to let your mind run away with you on the Monday. On the Tuesday, the beauty comes from being present, from being absolutely present and open and enjoying the innocence of that moment, really into the depths of our emotions on the Wednesday. On the Thursday, we have the 6 of Wands. On the Thursday, the spotlight comes back onto us now. This is who we are. This is what we offer. How can we bring that into I want to say victory, but that's so cliche. It's not about victory. It's about illuminosity. How can we illuminate who we are, both to ourselves and to others on the Thursday? New version of us willing and wanting to be seen. When I say new version, it's not to say that has gone before us is no longer relevant, although I hear, yes, it is. Okay, so reinventing ourselves on the Thursday. This week in particular, actually, I'm going to be revamping the shop, my husband's shop, but also my business, but also myself. And I'm starting that by detoxing and really getting back into my body. This week is very much about revamping the relationship we have with ourselves, revamping the relationship we have with our media platforms, revamping the relationship we have with our business, with each other, with the universe. with where we are, if we can keep the knowledge that whatever is happening on the Monday, no matter how confusing, it is moving us towards where it is we are trying to get. Come the Thursday, a new idea about this will come in. It may very well be sparked on the Monday, but it will become a lot more clear on the Thursday. It does feel, I want to show you this card, it does feel Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, sorry, on the Friday. It does feel as if it's been a journey of the mind this week. Even though it's very intense on the Monday and very intense on the Friday, it does feel as if it's all kind of been about looking at our mindset, you know, and really walking those steps, that labyrinth within our own values and our own ideas. And if we can see that, if we can see this mental, I want to say mental intuition, but I also want to say mental initiation, mental connection here. If we can really connect to our thoughts for the wisdom that they can bring without becoming them, it feels really quite important that we recognize the process. There's one cup. There's one cup that would have been there throughout. There's one emotion. There's one thing that we love. There's one thing that we would long for that actually on the Saturday is going to be the thing that's going to ground us close to a situation, and then emotionally shutting off, you know, emotionally saying no, it's not for me, and pushing away the very things that are for us on the Sunday based on how we see ourselves. So, a particular thing that comes up for me, because there's that double-edged sword of being seen but not wanting to be seen but not feeling safe to be seen. So this week, really feeling into where the very pain that is being caused contains the medicine. Okay, where you may be a paradox in your own right, where you may want freedom but choose to continue imprisoning yourself in these thoughts that aren't helping you, these situations that aren't beneficial for you. Take the underlying energies into play. They are there to support us. So the Devil, the Ace of Cups, and the Justice card, they are there to support us. The love now needed to see the light that we are in our own darkness and to call bullshit on ourselves is there to support us. It might not feel like it this week, but it is. However, it doesn't want to be included in the whole reading, because obviously the energy that's there to support us isn't going to do it for us. So we can manifest when there's a full moon or a new moon, and yes, that energy can emphasize what we're doing, but if we're out of alignment with our own cycles, it's not going to do anything. And this week, it's not that we're on our own, but it's really important that we hear our own potential and our own ability to create. And in order to do that, we must do that. We must do that. No one can push out this new life for you other than you. No one can bring forth this change that you're looking for other than you. There is support there, yes, but that support this week is going to reflect back to you the power of your own heart, and where you may be holding back your own light, and the necessary need now to draw a line in the sand with yourself. There are some things that are going to cause a necessary ick so that we can bring our focus back. But then there are other things where that ick is going to show us where we are, and I'm going to say it, lacking in heart energy in regards to that, in heart coherence, in love for what it is we are trying to do. How can we fall back in love with that? How can we fall back in love with ourselves this week? Yes, mentally, it's going to take us on a journey. Mentally, we are going to be almost forced into looking at where we are playing small, at where we are imprisoning ourselves, at where we need to look at the reflection that we see in our own perspective of who we are. It can be finances, that can be the home that we live, all of it actually, of course, that's why I keep repeating it, it's all of it, it's all linked, okay? If we hold on to the image of who we think we are, we will only ever reach a certain level. Now, that's not to say that's not good enough. I'm not saying that. That's not to say that we're here to constantly be changing from a place where we're not good enough. It's almost that we need to let go of. Letting go this week of the expectations of ourselves helps us to let go of the expectations of the world that we see. You know, if we can actually release any need for this control that comes from instability, yeah, we can actually become quite grounded in the uncertainty and change that may very well be needed right now. Take care, have the most incredible week, and I shall see you next week. Take care.